Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev are heading in the same direction for a head-on collision. Despite this, they're already coming into conflict with one another. Volkanovski sent a tweet at the UFC lightweight champion on Thursday, in which he questioned whether Makhachev is a man of your word while he waits for their bout at UFC 286 to be made official. Volkanovski and Makhachev are scheduled to fight each other
at the same time.
Wrestling here as well. Obviously, we want guys that are going to give us good feel, good look for Charles and Islam. Had a lot of traveling yesterday, so I was feeling like it was going to be a rough day, but I told myself we'll get through it. Joe was like, maybe we'll pull it up a little bit, maybe we'll change it a bit, make it that little bit easier. I go, nah, don't worry about it. Let's just get through it. Be a bit of a mental and physical push. That's what we want anyway. I got through it. So a couple more hard sessions and eat pretty good. And then see if we're going to be needed for UFC 280 main event. We off to Abu Dhabi. Let's go.
The two pound-for-pound greats meet in the cage following Makhachev's impressive win over Charles Oliveira at UFC 280 in October, and all indications point to them having a mega fight at UFC 284 in Perth, Australia in February of next year. Volkanovski currently sits at number 1 on the UFC's pound-for-pound list. Makhachev defeated Charles Oliveira with an impressive victory.
Quicker than Khabib hoped.
Makhachev provided Volkanovski with a response, in which he informed him that as soon as the contracts are distributed, he'll sign them on the dotted line. According to a tweet that was sent out by Makhachev, the second I receive the paper, I'll sign it, don't worry. Enjoy your first place in the pound-for-pound rankings for the time being. Following that, Makhachev posted another tweet in which he made light of the size difference that exists between himself and the current UFC featherweight champion. In his tweet, Makhachev instructed the recipient to just ensure that your team convinces the UFC that you can compete with me. From what I understand, they believe you're on the petite side. Volkanovski did not answer when Makhachev made a joke about his height, although he did appear content with Makhachev's verbal agreement. Good man, Volkanovski wrote. With Volkanovski holding a perfect record of 12-0 in the UFC and Makhachev appearing unbeatable in the midst of an 11-fight win streak, a battle between these two would undoubtedly be among the most compelling MMA fight ever staged. At UFC 284, Khabib Nurmagomedov believes that Alexander Volkanovski will be able to pose a threat to Makhachev, but that threat won't be enough to win. Volkanovski, who currently holds the UFC featherweight title and has a record of 25-1 in mixed martial arts competition and 12-0 in the UFC, will challenge Nurmagomedov's star pupil, Makhachev, who has a record of 23-1 in MMA and 12-1 in the UFC, for the lightweight championship on February 11th at the RAC Arena in Perth, Australia. After the prelims, which are broadcasted on ESPN and ESPN+, the main event is shown on pay-per-view. Makhachev will get his first opportunity to defend the belt that he won against Charles Oliveira in the second round of their fight at UFC 280. The fight will be Makhachev's first attempt to defend the championship. Despite the fact that Makhachev's trainer, Nurmagomedov, believes that Volkanovski will put up a stronger fight, he stated that the outcome won't be affected by this development. During a speaking event on Sunday for Class A events and Penny Appeal Canada, Nurmagomedov said, "I warned Islam, like even before last fight with Charles Oliveira, I told him, Volkanovski is going to be tougher than Charles. Like, before the fight, because it was like if Charles doesn't make weight, it's going to be Volkanovski who's supposed to fight him. Obviously, Charles and Volkanovski share the same amount of experience. Each one of them has a positive experience, but I think Volkanovski has a higher fighting IQ and a bigger heart than he does, so he beats him in that regard. In my opinion, Islam is going to face a far more formidable adversary in Volkanovski than he did with Charles Oliveira, but in any case, why does it matter? We're going to put an end to this person." The bout between Makhachev and Volkanovski will be the first time in the history of the UFC that two fighters who have won their last 11 or more fights will face each other inside the octagon. In addition to that, it is only the 7th time that the company has ever staged a bout between two champions.
Yeah, well, it was good. Like, I got to sort of experience what it's going to be like February as well, right? So I got to go out there and sort of prepare for the guys, and soak up a bit of that energy and things like that. So it was good. It was a great experience. So yeah, like you said, I've done some miles, doing what I had to do, but now it's get to work and get to business, right? So again, I got to feel it out, enjoy that process, but now
there's a lot riding on the outcome of this fight between Volkanovski, who's rated first in the UFC's official pound-for-pound standings, and Makhachev, who's ranked second. Both fighters have a lot riding on the outcome. Volkanovski, who currently holds the title of King of Featherweight Division, will be making the move up to 155 in order to attempt to achieve the legendary status of Champ. This is something that has only been accomplished in the history of the company by Conor McGregor, Daniel Cormier, Amanda Nunes, and Henry Cejudo. There have been a lot of fans that have been waiting for quite some time for another great champ versus champ fight in the company, and this is likely one of the biggest fights that the UFC can pull off. On the enormous fight that will take place as the main event, odds have been posted by a variety of bookmakers, and when added together, they appear to come out as follows. The fact that Volkanovski is listed as a plus 280 underdog is somewhat surprising, considering that he is the current 145-pound champion and is widely regarded as the pound-for-pound finest fighter in the organization at this time. It is interesting to know that Makhachev is currently rated number 2 in the pound-for-pound rankings. Hence, this fight has the potential to be the most significant fight that the organization may stage in 2023. Given that War Volk is currently ranked at the very pinnacle of the fighting world, it begs the question, how on earth can he be considered an underdog at this level?
This guy is so small. I'm gonna stop this guy. Like what I did a couple minutes ago, I can do the same things. Taking him down and finish him there. This guy is so small. He's not my level.
Volkanovski is the current and reigning champion of the UFC's featherweight division. It was easily the biggest fight of Makhachev's career when he fought Charles Oliveira to earn the 155-pound gold at UFC 280. This victory demonstrated that Makhachev not only has the ability to compete at the highest level of the sport, but that he also has the ability to win gold. Having said that, Volkanovski has not lost a fight since 2013. And even if he's going up in weight, the fact that he's doing so could be seen as an advantage for the current king of the featherweight division. Back in August of 2022, Volkanovski informed Bloody Elbow that he had issued a warning to Paddy Pimblett, telling the British fighter that he needed to monitor his weight between fights. It was also disclosed in that piece that Volk really has a walking around weight of 190 pounds when he's not competing, which indicates that he'd actually need to cut less in order to challenge for the lightweight belt.